we are, Charles, on the eve of the 4th International Driverless Vehicle Summit in Sydney this year. Well, you would remember we started this journey in early 2014.
Yes.
I think you attended the first vehicle symposium.
Yes.
So maybe, you know, I remember you coming back and saying there was only about a couple of hundred people there.
I remember a question they asked of the audience. There was about maybe 300-400 of us, and someone asked, how many of you have sat in a fully autonomous vehicle? And we were all engineers in the room, you know, and I think there were less than 10 hands that went up, you see. And here we had a conference. And in subsequent years, you know, that same question has been asked quite a number of times. And every time you can see more and more hands. And right now, if you ask the question, even in Melbourne or Perth or whatever, right, you probably get, you know, at least half, if not 3/4 of the people there, you know, saying, yes, I've been in something or other, you see.
So that's been a big journey, really, from 2014. I mean, you won't admit it, but you're one of the leading experts and leading minds in this space in Australia and globally as well, because you're over to Singapore for an ISO committee meeting around this technology and certification around those sorts of things. But yeah, we have seen since we first launched ADVI in 2015 and we closed the Southern Expressway in South Australia to demonstrate the technology that now is available in almost every car you can buy in Australia and New Zealand. So, you know, that's a very short period of time. Less than 5 years. We went from less than 100 people having ridden in these technologies in the US to now having this conference that you mentioned. There's over 1,500 people going to it now, and as you say, most of those people are involved and working in the industry. So, and Australia's had that sort of groundswell as well. We established ADVI in 2015. We had 25 partners, and now we've got over 130. So we've seen these strange-looking vehicles now and trucks with an electric battery base with a container on top. So one of the things that's really interesting and I think is really important is that we don't plan for the future on what we've done in the past, because our vehicles are going to look different, the way people want to move, the way people work is going to be different. I'm really looking forward to this next decade, because I think from a transport perspective it's going to be quite transformational.
It's interesting you asked me about the heavy vehicle industry, because bear in mind, although we had manufacturing of light vehicles in Australia, our heavy vehicles come from all over the world. So if you look at our heavy vehicle fleet, it's about a third. So American, European and Asian region. And a lot of our manufacturing in Australia has been in the innovative stuff, in the trailers, how we couple the trailers, how we have multi-combinations and stuff like that, A doubles and B doubles sorts of couplings. Going forward into this next generation, we will still have those trucks come from all over the world, or those trailers, how we couple them and how we interoperate, so operators have got, say rigids and trailers and multi-combination vehicles. They all come from different parts of the world, but we will have to make them able to operate together. So that is really our strength, because Australia can come up with a rest of the world solution.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And at the ADVI Summit, which is going to be at the end of this month, on the 28th and 29th of October, we have a special plenary session on the Tuesday, which has got an international truck company who's one of the leading automated trucks. So that's a single truck, driverless truck technology. And they're going to be presenting. Plus we've got NTC, Marcus Burke, talking about what the regulatory environment is going to have to be in Australia to allow these vehicles to operate. And then we've got a panel session around a lot of the technology, light and heavy vehicles, about how people are going to move and how freight are going to move. And I think that's a really exciting part of the event.
The things that we really need to attend to are the infrastructure, the road users, and the regulations and operational frameworks. Because you can bring in the best trucks, the most high-tech, and can do all of these things, but if we don't have the infrastructure that they can operate on, or the comms that they can use, or the precise positioning that's required for many of these automated vehicles, if we don't have other road users and the operators of this understand how to operate this on our environment. And if you don't have the right regulatory and operational frameworks, it's not going to work. So the important thing is not the technology, it's about getting all these stakeholders and our communities involved. And the overarching picture in all of that is, at the end of the day, the outcome that we want is a safe outcome.
Absolutely.
And this is the reason. We can bring all the technologies in, but what is going to be safe for Burke Street Mall, for example? What's going to be safe on our line haul routes? What's going to be safe in our small towns where we've got automated tractors and big freight going around with no drivers in them and kids going to school and so on? So those are the areas where infrastructure, regulatory and operational frameworks, and attention to driver education, road user education is so important.
Yeah, so the other thing that we're very excited about is that we run the ADVI Public Opinion Survey, and
Yes.
we are going to have the third iteration of that survey. We started that survey in 2016 where we asked the public what they thought about that.
Yes.
We expanded that in 2017 to include New Zealand
Yes.
and see what the views were there. And this is going to be the results of the longitudinal assessment from that 2016. So
Yes.
very excited to see whether the public opinion and sentiment has followed the journey that the technology and the engineers have as far as what they're willing to accept. Because
Yeah.
ultimately we can design the safest system, but if the community is not receptive or doesn't feel that they want to receive this technology,
Sure.
we won't have a market to sell it into,
Sure.
and we won't get the acceptance. So
A lot of people talk about what they call the Gartner cycle, where there's a hype and then it comes down, and really that little coming down is where users are saying, I don't like this so much, or I have concerns about privacy or security and stuff. Because once you experience something, then you are able to go back and refine your requirements. You say, hey, this is really good, but it cannot do these things, or we should be more concerned about privacy or security. And this is really good because as engineers, as developers, as technology providers, we have to respond to the community, the users' needs, you see. So actually, to me, that little blip on the hype cycle is really good because it recalibrates
yes.
and refines and will result in fit for purpose applications for Australia or for each of the use cases we have, whatever domains we operate in. So for us to get to that stage after 2 or 3 years is really good. You don't want to spend 10 years and then suddenly get to the stage, no, I really don't like it, because you spend a lot of money on infrastructure and regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah, so to that point, the ADVI Summit again will have the opportunity for the public to come and test and ride in shuttles, to experience researchers and the sort of driverless racing cars, to have a look at the Matilda bus stop, which is co-designed with Royal Society for the Blind, about making it a bus stop that can actually communicate, can tell you where your bus is coming from, and they've linked it to an automated shuttle. We're going to see a lot of the feedback from the regional trials that have taken place in New South Wales and nationally. So the forecourt of Sydney Olympic Park is going to be open to the public to come and have a ride and experience for themselves, and maybe provide feedback about what they want to see and maybe what they don't want to see.